I don't know, like, she's out there. You're the Florida version of Sex in the City, JD.
That's when I was smoking my cigar.
Don't be an asshole today. We're good. Right. The sun is just starting to go down. I'm like, God, Jay, the lighting is fine.
Oh my gosh, nice lighting. Yeah.
Yeah. So rarely is it ever daylight when I'm doing this.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can actually do a happy hour drink.
Yeah. I thought that was going to be gone.
What is that? What is that you have?
That is cream soda with vanilla Irish whiskey.
Oh, wow. That sounds delicious.
Honestly, it tastes like a vanilla sundae. It's so good.
Like a dessert.
With
since
with a little alcohol.
Since it's noon, I'm doing a coffee drink, which I've never done with my auntie cup.
Perfect. That's awesome. What's in coffee?
Bailey's. I know that's probably very predictable, but it's toasted coconut coffee with Bailey's
again.
In it. the coconut, it's a very light coconut.
Wow. You really go with flavors that match. You know, like if I was drinking a coconut coffee, maybe I would put in a little Malibu. Bring it out.
Oh, God, what a great idea. Yeah. Next time. I wanted something creamy. So, but anyway, you could tell how much
all kinds of Bailey's. I'm dying to try the apple pie, Bailey's apple pie.
Oh, I didn't know about that. Haven't heard.
Yeah, we actually have, because my wife is vegetarian, dairy free, gluten free. So we have the dairy free almond Bailey's, which is actually really good. Like, I didn't think I would like it because I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
The thing that makes Bailey's is that it's creamy, and but it's actually it's just a very toasty, coconutty flavor. So yeah, I mean,
that would have gone with
almond flavor.
That would have gone with my toasted coconut coffee.
Yeah, probably. If you're gonna stay in the nut family, coconut, I might have added hazelnut, but okay.
You could tell how much I cooked and I know how to put flavors together. Although I like
exactly. So. Exactly. This week I'm making a butternut squash soup, which I'm super excited about because I get to use that emulsion thing. So I'm gonna try that. And then I'm also making, and I've made this before, it's just been a while, like pasta with gorgonzola, pears, and walnuts, toasted walnuts.
Ooh, that sounds so good.
Yeah, it's wow. Good. Yeah. Because now it's getting cooler and I don't mind cooking. Like, I can open the windows and it's like, 60, you know what I mean? So it's like, I have so much more energy when it gets cool. Like, I'm a slug in the summer, but the minute it starts getting cooler, it's like I have all this energy. I cleaned out all the kitchen cabinets, and because we got the new dishes, so that sparked this whole kitchen thing, which I'm going to tell, I just posted this on Facebook, but I'll tell you, today is mine and Gemma's 11th anniversary.
Happy anniversary. I want to say that. Yes.
So we were like, let's look up what the traditional gift is, for like 11 years. And it's steel. Like, and we just had like this big laugh. We were like, well, here's your steel girder, here's your street post. So we were just like laughing about it. And then I was like, wait a minute, I just bought you a stainless steel kettle. And she was like, and I just bought you the matching stainless steel toaster. We are
Look at
nailing
that.
this marriage thing. Nailing it.
You are doing it effortlessly.
Yeah, yeah. So we were just having like a laugh about that, like nailing it. And then she's like, well, bye. I'm going to help my friend pack up her flat. Yeah.
You're naturals at this.
Yeah, we're
I think,
either watching TV, napping, or off doing our own things. That is the secret to a happy marriage.
yes, it is. And I was actually going to ask you, what's the secret? Because
There's
11
a few-
years. And
yeah, there's a few things. Like I said, letting her have the remote always is the
good
first
one.
thing. And then for if you ask her, she would say buying her a pizza every Friday. Without
Aw,
fail, without question. That's how that goes.
she
So
knows her
yeah,
girl.
I think one of the things is that you just have to be nice to each other, like that, just I can't even if she has to run out in the morning for something, like say she's running up the street to pick up a prescription or get a haircut or something, on the way home she'll bring me a coffee, and it's just like a nice thing to do, like if I'm grocery shopping and I
Thoughtful.
see
Yeah.
something that I think that she'll like, I'll get it for her. And it's always like, got a treat for you, and surprise her with a treat. But I think like when you stop doing that, it feels like nobody cares anymore. So
Yes.
we
Yes.
like a conscious effort to kind of just be nice, Be
I
nice.
agree 100%. It's the little things. And they're not little. The things you think are little are the hugest
Yeah,
things, like
yeah.
bringing you the coffee, or knowing she likes to have the remote control, or little surprises are so much better than
Yeah,
maybe
they could be so
something.
stupid. Like sometimes I'll just like wash her blanket, and I'll wait until like it's in the evening time and she goes and puts it on and she goes, oh, and I go, yeah, yeah.
And that's the other side, appreciating and
Yeah,
letting your partner know, wow, you did this for me,
yeah. Like some acknowledgement is nice, of course. So yeah,
Yeah.
we just do. I think that's really the secret of it. And I think a lot of it too is like we give each other a lot of space, like if she's having a day where she just wants to be upstairs reading a book, I don't, like I'll say, what are you doing up there? Like, what? She's like, just reading. And then that's it. I'm good. I'm done, But,
Yeah.
like, and again, like I'm not someone that likes to go out a lot. Like I'm really not. I burned out so hard on it when we first moved here. Like we did so much traveling, and then I was working for Sharon Glass, and it was a lot of back and forth into London. And, so the first like 5 years of me being here was just a lot of busybody stuff, and,
Yeah.
and I think that, you know, uh, at my age, I just don't want to be bothered with it. I fucking hate people. I don't know a nice way to say it. I just hate people.
So
You
you were
know,
not too miserable in quarantine. You were good with
I was
quarantine.
living for it, man. I was like, I've trained for this for so long. Like I all of a sudden I don't need an excuse. I was running out of stuff to
Right.
say. When people would be like, do you want to go here? And I'd be like, I have a stomach ache. Oh, I have a headache. Oh, I'm not feeling well. Oh, my diabetes is a little off. Like all of a sudden I was running out of things to say. So then I didn't have to have an excuse anymore. And I still don't. And I love it. I love it. I'm
Right, you
such
still
a
don't.
homebody. I will always find things to do or something on television, or like this month, my whole thing, so I was telling Gemma, every day I want to find one little weird niggly thing to clean, like vacuum the blinds, clean the tracks of the patio doors, like weird things like that. And that's what I think, between the kitchen, getting the new things in the kitchen, the new dishes, the new appliances,
Yeah.
that like I'm gonna purge. So I started like cleaning out drawers and everything. And I have like an old coworker from the pub who is pregnant, and she's due the end of December. And she, young kid, so sweet, love her so much. I mean, like I just miss her so much. We had so much fun every time we were on a shift together. It was great. And I know that she's, struggling. She's working part-time because she's pregnant. So I texted her and said, do you want some things, like kitchen things? And she's like, "Ooh, what do you got?" And I was like, dishes, utensils, mugs. I said, and I could go a bit further. I've got lamps, I've got fans, I've got clothes, I got boots. She's like, I'll take it all. I'll take it all. So
Aw.
all week long, I've just been chucking things in boxes, like boxing things up. We haven't even like hit the boots and the coats yet, but winter's coming, so
Yeah.
it's time to purge a little bit. And so, it's the blessing of it is when you find somebody that needs it, and they're gonna take it, and it's
Right.
not just sitting in bags and boxes in your foyer
Exactly.
or out, in your shed taking up space, and you don't have to load up your car and bring it to a charity shop, or don't,
Right.
this is just the most easiest it's like a win-win for everybody. So
Yeah.
that's like really spurred me on. So I've had like a big week.
Yeah. That is how I always justify, because I call myself the anti-hoarder, because I throw away things I probably will need very soon.
Yeah.
But if you could justify it by saying it's sitting in a box or it's sitting in the closet, someone else could be enjoying it, then it's nice to pass that on to other
Right.
people.
Right.
So I try to help others who cannot get rid of things, because I have a lot of people, when they come to my place, they'll say, I wish I could live this way. How do you not have anything in the way? I
You've
say,
got a real minimalist thing going on there. It's
I'm a
fantastic.
minimalist,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
some people have a hard time, letting go.
Yes.
So
Yep.
yeah. So
My theory is, like, if I haven't looked for this or needed it in like a year, what makes me think I'm going to need it this upcoming year,
right.
So
Exactly.
I do a hardcore purge, like, honestly, every 3 to 6 months. My wife, that's the story.
Girl.
She's getting good. She's getting a lot better, I gotta say, because I think we struggle with, like, do we want to be in this house? How much longer do we want to be in this house, kind of thing?
Yeah.
It is small, really, really small. It's hard to have visitors and guests, and there's not enough seating. I'm sitting at the kitchen table, and this is my living room. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in the, so it's not, the houses are just built smaller here. And, the closer you get to London, the smaller, the less house you get for your money. And we know the further out you go, like if you wanted to go to the countryside,
yeah,
you could get a banger of a house for what we paid for this, like 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom land, out in the middle of nowhere, no one bothering you. So, like, we understand that, but the problem is that we never know where she's going to be working, like where her next contract is.
Yeah.
So right now it's London, and she's got to be able to get back and forth. The transport links have got to work for her to be able to get back and forth within an hour or so, So we just kind of made our peace that we're probably going to be here for a little while longer, and maybe it would be good if we created some space. We've looked up a lot of things with the city and the council and all that stuff about expanding a little bit. And oddly enough, every wall that we would want to knock down to create some space is a support wall. So we can't. And, so we thought, well, we'll put the money in a few different places, like we've got some saved up, and we want to do some things. So we're going to get our patio redone, so it looks a little bit nicer outside, because right now all the ground torn up and everything from pressure washing. And so we're going to get it evened out too, because we don't like the edges. We just want just straight across, like just a rectangle patio. So we're going to get that done. And then the wall behind me that has the two like niches back there. We want to get some built-in shelving and cabinetry, and have the TV move to the middle, and change out the fireplace. So it's not going to make space. That's the thing. It's not going to create any space. But in doing these things and committing to having these things done and all that, I think it gives you the motivation to purge. If the downstairs finally getting good, let's get right upstairs, let's get those closets, let's get at the bedroom, let's, that kind of thing. So it's coming, I feel like it's coming. So, and the thing of it is we don't dislike it, but what I noticed, I was just thinking about this yesterday. I saw a picture that somebody posted in one of those neighborhood Facebook groups. And it was the red buses here in London, the double-decker buses.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
always going up and down the street and all that, around here. And it was a picture of one of those buses, and the top was on fire. Like the top deck was on fire. And nobody could
Wow.
say whether it was intentional, whether somebody did it, like what happened, whether it was an electrical problem with the bus, or whether somebody like threw a Molotov cocktail in there or
Oh
something.
my
like,
God.
so,
Terrorism.
yeah, like all of a sudden, like it just dawned on me that like just within the last like 5 years, I've seen so much more about like vandalism, like graffiti vandalism, up and down the high street. And
Mhm.
then there's moped purse snatchers that drive up and
Oh,
down the high
really?
street, and they snatch people's purses and stuff that are getting money out of the ATMs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's just in drag racing at night, like up and down the high street when it's like really loud. And it's just all those things that I've really seen like a big evolution in the last like 5 years, where it used to be like this was such a safe little easygoing older people, kind of village. And now that they're like tearing down businesses and putting in more flats, and there's more commuters that are being here, because the schools are pretty decent. So people with families want to be here because, the train link into London is a quick, like 30 or 40 minutes. It's
That's a good,
so
that's
it's
a good point. A good selling point if you ever
it's a
have to
good
sell.
selling point. But then like all of a
But-
sudden you feel like older people are dying off or going
Yeah.
into residential homes or whatever, and they're selling, and
Mhm.
people are just scooping up any last little home they see on the market, and they're moving in. And
Right.
I just think that kids between the ages of like 11, 12 up to about 17, 18, they don't have anything to do. They don't
Yeah.
have anything to do.
Yeah.
They're out causing trouble. And I know like we've been there, we've all been there, and you just don't,
Yeah.
you don't have a space that's yours, and you don't, so you
Right.
just start claiming other people's spaces, you
Yeah.
drive
Yeah.
people crazy in the park, and it's just that like nothing feels easy and extremely safe anymore. So it's weird. So, but it's part of like why I would love to just move to the country where there's just,
Yeah.
nobody
That's,
around for miles. I love it. I love that thought.
you like that. See,
I
that's a
do.
big lifestyle. That would be like a lifestyle change. Like,
Yeah.
the appeal of living like in London, I would think is the same thing as like living in New York City. Like you get very small space for what you're paying for.
Yeah. It is a
But
very,
what's so
very famous.
cool, yeah. But what
Yeah.
I think is so cool, because I've always been a suburbs girl. I wasn't urban. I wasn't, city growing up, but I have this I'm drawn to that. So it's like, I like the idea of like, I don't live in the city, I live across from the beach, but like, I always pretend like I have a Starbucks downstairs. Like I can go down, walk, like, and there's like the store on the corner where you can get, the paper and whatever, or, like in the city, like in New York City. But even here, like if you wanted to get an apartment by Meisner, which would be like maybe Boca Raton, which is a tiny little city, it's ridiculous how much the rents are. And most of them are rentals. They don't really have that you could buy your place. Like for a studio or a 1-bedroom that's tiny, it's just, my backyard when I lived a little bit west was the size of this entire apartment that I had looked at before I bought this place. And I'm like, it's just crazy. And then that doesn't include your parking space. Now you have to pay for a parking space, and you're lucky you can get a parking space. So, it's a whole different way of living, but I like the downsizing. So I guess it depends on where you're at also in your life.
And in your stage of life. Exactly. Like that.
Right.
One of the things, like, I think that is funny, like, we have Gemini, there's a big age gap, there's like 17 years between us. And
wow. I didn't realize it was that many years.
Yeah. And I think the thing of it is that she's a very old soul.
Yeah.
Like there's a part of her that's extremely like cosmopolitan. Like she likes commuting into work and, with her little blazer and her backpack and her
Uh-huh.
little rolled up jeans. And, like she's very much like on point when it comes to like that typical London
Right.
upstarter, kind of thing. And then when she's home, she's like a different person, like hair in a ponytail, sweatpants, t-shirt, working out in the garden or whatever.
Right.
There's a part of her that, with work and stuff is extremely professional and still vibrant, young, but she's got such an old soul.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
that person that like I wake up and I go, oh my God, it's gray and rainy. She goes, isn't it fabulous? Like she just wants to wrap up in a blanket with a good book, drink
Aw.
tea all day, and and have it be raining. And because I think the thing of it is you don't feel like you're missing out on anything, when it's a crappy weather day.
Right. Exactly.
You have no guilt about, being wrapped up in a blanket, watching television or reading a book or whatever, because who's out? Who's doing anything?
You don't feel like you should be doing something.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see myself as Gemma. I want to Gemma grow up. I always like that. Like that's exactly what I was saying. I like the appeal of being the city person, and then like you kind of have, I guess, the best of both because she could still have somewhat of a garden as opposed to if you lived
we've got a little bit of
in
green space that makes a huge difference. And I don't think I've ever been more appreciative as I was during lockdown. Like I thought about people that are stuck in like a flat that have no courtyard space or garden space, and they're just holed up in there and like, oh, that's gotta suck. So just having this like little patch of backyard, which I swear to God, it's a postage stamp, it was really a lifesaver.
Oh, sure.
To be able to go outside, get fresh air. I mean, I am in and out so much, all day long, all day long. There's like, I got to feed the squirrels. I've got like a mini Costco in my shed, like my paper towels, my toilet paper's out there. I got, so I'm just in and out like all day long. And I don't know what I would do without that additional space. Like that would probably change. Look, I'm being a homebody. I gotta say, so. Yeah.
I want to get a bike and I miss having the garage, but we do have a room downstairs in the lobby with a lock on the door that you could put a bike in. But other than that, like I miss the garage. I don't miss the whole house, but I do miss having the garage.
You guys even have a carport?
I have a carport. Yeah. And I was fortunate the people next to me are here like only part-time.
Seasonal,
and they haven't been back since the pandemic. They live in Colombia. So he's the husband said to me, well, we're hardly ever here. Why don't you use our space? And it's right next to my space. So it's so that worked out.
You literally have a guest space. Yeah.
We have plenty of parking here for guests, but it's not undercover. So
right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So happy. I wanted to say happy anniversary. And I think it's quite a milestone.
It is. It feels like, 11 years, 11 straight people years is 11 years. But I think in lesbian years, it's like 22 because we're, we jumped that gun, you know what I mean? There's not a dating period.
Right.
but yeah, no, it does feel like a milestone. It's pretty amazing. Like we actually celebrate it on the 10th because this way it's always 10-10-10.
Nice. Yeah.
But the actual day that we got married is the 9th. So yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Pretty cool.
I need to do this once more. Okay.
That's funny. So we haven't had a show without a guest for quite some time. Right. So we're just having, a good old fashioned catch up here because, first of all, your family was ravaged by COVID. Jem had COVID, and we were like the Florence Nightingales of the whole COVID situation.
Yes, we were. And it's not easy being the Florence Nightingale.
It's not. At least you had your sister to help.
Yeah, we were the tag team, and one of us was not going down without the other. So we're like, if you get it, I'm getting it too.
I'm spitting on you.
She was literally eating my food that I ate out of because she's like, I'm not letting you go without me.
That's so perfect.
And you know what happened? One night we pulled up to my mom's because it was, like I told you, it was 4 times a day going back and forth, and then to my
Because your
mom's
sister
house.
had it. Your mom didn't have it.
My
Your
mom, thank
sister
God,
that
never.
lives with your mother.
So it's hard enough being a caretaker, but now we're the caretakers trying to not keep my mom from getting sick, trying to keep us from getting sick. So like my mom needs a lot of care in and of itself, but now with COVID in the other room, having to do it double masked, which is the way we were doing it with gloves, and we couldn't really stay to eat a meal with her. So I felt bad. We would leave the food and have to go away and eat at home, and then go back again and clean up dinner and help my mom to bed. It was a lot of a struggle, but one night we pulled up. We were happy to do it. Like we were happy we were able to be healthy, and we stayed healthy. But we pulled up one night, and the song, the Helen Reddy song, "You and Me Against the World," came on. And the lyric where it goes, "When one of us is gone and one of us is left to carry on," and we look at each other and she goes, "Oh no, you're not going without me. I'm coming with you." So we did get through it. We made it through, and that was quite a feat. I was really appreciating the drive up. I never did the Target drive up. I was always like, well, why don't I just walk in the store and get it? Why do I need someone to get it off the shelf and bring it out to us?
Yeah.
But that was a lifesaver because Joni's whole family had it too. So we were doing Target runs for her, and then taking care of my mom, getting the stuff she needed, getting Nancy her food. We just wouldn't let her out of the room. So she had to stay
in like a caged lion, like just throw her a steak and slam the door.
Yes, but she came out. One of those funny. She came out. She looked great. She was rested. She had lost about 15 pounds. She was wearing a fitted shirt. We looked at her and we looked like Marion and I looked like the zombies, the walking zombies. We barely had time to shower, let alone put makeup or fix or anything.
Right. Eating like shit because you're always on the fly.
Yes, we were eating the worst. We were making sure everyone else had healthy food, and we were just eating on the fly. So yeah. So yes, we did that. We got through that. And
that's funny. Ours was more of a ours was like Jem was away for, I think it was like 6 days, and she had this plan for quite a bit. It was at the very end of August. She was going up to like Blackpool, like it was like a journey north. So I forget what it was, but it was like Leeds, oh God, Preston, Manchester, and Blackpool. And she was with a coworker friend, and whose mom lived in Blackpool. So the idea was they were making their way to Blackpool because it was the mother's birthday. And, the coworker chick didn't want to travel alone. And Gemma really needed to get away. Like, how her family has just had more than their share of stress and misery in Australia, and her not being able to go there. So I was like, definitely do it. Cause she kind of thought about backing out, and I was like, nah, you need a little time to blow off some steam and, go have a good time. So they went, and she had brought a bunch of the lateral flow tests with her, and she was testing like every 2 days, and they wore masks on the train. They took the train the whole way. So they were wearing masks, and everything they did, if there were, people around or whatever, they had their masks on. They went to, when they finally got to Blackpool, they went to like an outdoor amusement park thing. And she said, we were the only ones wearing masks. And she said, and it was like a little bit unnerving because like you had to stand in a line, like queue, as they would say here, queue up.
Get your
tickets or whatever. So she was like people were just like not social distancing and not wearing masks, and it was a little bit weird. And this was like the 3 days before she was coming home. So they did the outdoor thing. They did the birthday the next day with the mom, and then they went to a drag show that was indoor. But she said like we wore our masks the whole time we were waiting to go in, and then when we sat down, she's like, but then we ordered drinks and stuff, so we took the mask off, have a couple of drinks, and then so the next day she came home, and she tested the day before the drag show, and she was still negative. And then she got home I think it was like a Thursday. And then Friday morning she tested and it was positive. And it was like everything stopped. And like we had to totally
Oh, yeah.
evaluate what we did on
Oh, God.
Thursday. Like, did I hug you when you came in? Did I kiss you? Did I touch you? Oh my God. So then I'm testing like a maniac. And then she goes, you know
Yeah,
what? Let's just go we'll do the drive-through PCR tests to be sure. Cause sometimes these lateral flows can give you a false positive, blah, blah.
right.
So this was like at 10 o'clock in the morning and you have to book in. So we got a slot for like 10:20 and it was just like pull on pants, like throw on a shirt, get in the car and drive to this place, do the test. The next day I get my results are negative and hers are positive.
Oh,
So
man.
we already like, especially like when she came home, she slept in the guest room because when she's like so tired, like she'll just sleep in the guest room because I'll snore and wake her up and she'll have like not a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
She slept, thank God, she slept in the guest room the night she got home. And then so then starting Friday when she got that positive result, I just like closed her up in the guest room. And so I was down, we had a mask mandate for downstairs area. Like if she needed to come downstairs for something, she had to like either text me or say from the top of the stairs, I'm coming down. So I put on a mask. She had a mask. And it was, like I was telling everybody, it felt like this Downton Abbey situation. Like she was Lady Mary up in the guest room, ring a little bell when she was ready for tea or pudding or whatever. And and I was like fucking Mrs. Patmore. I would get the text or whatever, or it was so funny because it's like, how could she know? But like, what would happen is I would like clean, we were constantly cleaning everything with the antibacterial wipes, like the kettle, the coffee pot, the counters, refrigerator door, everything, bathroom door handles, blah, blah, blah. And so I would do a round of that, and then I'd be like, oh, and I would just sit down and it was like a text, could you make me a cup of tea? And I'd be like, so I was like, oh my God, I couldn't handle it. I'm like, I would not be a good Mrs. Patmore.
That's exactly the way I would describe the moment you find out. Time stands still for a second.
Yeah.
Because you think about, well, wait a minute, when was the last time I was there? What did, like with my sister, I was like, well, what did she touch? Like the first thing we did was go in and wipe down everything, because we're like, they live together.
Right.
They eat all meals together, they hang out together.
And at this point, your mom wasn't vaccinated, right? Or she just had recently got one shot.
2 days. She was literally 2 days in on her vaccine. And then Tuesday she got the vaccine, and Thursday my sister got the results. So, and with my mom, not only did time stand still for, well, what did Nancy touch? What do we have to clean? Where are we going to put Nancy? We were thinking, poor Nancy, she was like the leper. We also, they also pulled the caregivers for my mom that day.
Yeah, they can't show up. Right.
So that was a whole other thing. So what do you do? My sister, Nancy, was the caregiver at night. So now we needed to know, what's the routine? What do you do? How do you get her in bed? How do you change her? How do you, and my mom's like fully cognitive, so it's not like she couldn't tell us. It was just that
has some physical limitations that you got to help.
Yes. So so it was just me and Nancy was calling us from the bedroom, like I'm sure you guys were doing. I'm sure Gemma was calling you on the phone.
Yeah. So phone calls and everything. Yeah. What do you feel like for dinner? Like, oh my God, the easiest thing ever. I don't, and then like at some point, like I know she felt bad because it was a really mild case, like she got a little bit stuffy. She wasn't able to, taste right off the bat. And it was nothing, a few coughs here and there. And honestly, the worst of it lasted like 3 days. And then she felt fine. She was back to normal, but she was still testing positive. So we didn't know how to handle that. So I think she really felt really bad because like it got to the point where like after day 5 or whatever, she would just strap on a mask and come down and make her own food and
Right.
everything. And tea, you know, she was bringing up massive thermoses of tea, so she didn't have to keep coming up and down. And we were trying, you know, trying to get it figured out, because she felt like awful that like I don't want you to have to wait on me hand and foot when I'm fully capable.
Right,
So
right. Yeah.
yeah, so she started ordering takeaways. So she was like, I'm gonna cook tonight. I'm gonna
That
handle
was
cooking
nice.
tonight, you know, and the next thing you know, we got Coco de Mama delivered to the house and we're eating pasta. And it was
You get
really
through it.
weird.
You
Like
figure out how to get through it.
yeah, so I was sitting like across from where I'm at now at the table, and she was sitting in this chair so that she was facing forward. Not facing, so I was eating dinner, talking to the back of her head.
See,
She had like
that's
a
how you
TV
make it
tray.
work. That's how you make it work for 11 years plus. By now.
You do, you just adapt
Making
to
it work.
so fun. But we got through that, and it was you know, I kept thinking like, gosh, how long is this gonna last, because my birthday's coming up.
Oh,
I can't have her down for the count on my birthday, man.
yeah, you do the week. You're a birthday week person, right?
Yeah, and we didn't end up really doing that too much. It was like, I think we started doing that because a lot of gifts that we get from Amazon come like 3 days after.
Oh, okay.
So
Right,
we were,
right.
we were like making it a birthday week just so that everything was coming in. But yeah, we went, me, her, and Hazel went to Miller and Carter Steakhouse, because
Nice.
carnivore that I am, like I was like, I want steak, man. But yeah, Gemma had a lovely meal of French fries and side of
Aw.
to this other place that we really like on my actual birthday, which was on a Monday, called Bigatti's, and it's this Italian place that's right in Croydon. And Hazel introduced us to it because it was like one of her favorites. And every time my parents come, we go there, because my mother is absolutely amazed at this sharing platter that you can get that comes on this massive slab of wood. And it's got calamari and bruschetta, and I mean, it's just loaded. It's massive. It's got mozzarella cheese and prosciutto and all this stuff on it. And my mother she takes like 9 million pictures of it. We take the picture of it when it's loaded, and then the picture of it when it's done. And it's hilarious. So we were gonna go there, and it turns out they're not open on Mondays. So that sucked. And then we ended up going to my old manager from the pub is running another pub that's right not far from here. And so we went there because it's his birthday week too. But
Okay.
he wasn't working, so we just had a weird meal. I told you about the chicken Milanese, right?
Yes. It sounded good. It didn't sound like chicken Milanese.
Strange.
Typically.
Right.
It sounded really good. Anyway.
Very strange. It was like a breaded piece of chicken with a grilled tomato and Monterey Jack cheese melted on it, with a side of French fries and chicken gravy.
Yeah. Not your traditional Italian chicken Milanese,
but that's my bad for ordering that at a pub. I should have just got fish and chips. But no, everything was super tasty, and it was nice, and I'd never been there before, and I really wanted to check it out. It's gorgeous. It's a nice pub, and it's part of a chain that we're really familiar with.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a similar menu to another pub that we go to. So yeah, it was a fun birthday week. Like quiet.
Well,
I was perfectly okay with it.
I'm actually in my birthday week right now.
I know.
Oh, my birthday was Tuesday, and my sister Marianne, who went through the COVID thing with me, my co Florence Nightingale, her birthday is Sunday. So
nursemaid Marianne, nursemaid JD. Yeah.
Yes.
Hers is Sunday.
Hers is Sunday. So
wow.
She's 2 years and 5 days younger than me. So so growing up, we always had our birthday parties together. My mother dressed us alike. I mean, we always did everything together. So tonight we're having our co-birthday dinner. We did the family thing. We did Nino's for my birthday on
Oh,
Tuesday.
okay.
And tomorrow we're doing a family thing for her birthday. But tonight we're doing the friends. We have a friend, our friend Lynn. It was her birthday also last
Oh my
week.
God.
So yeah, so we're going to Louis Bossy in
Oh,
down in
okay.
Boca.
That's nice.
And I just thought about that because they do that, what you were saying with the board, with the, what do they call it? Charcuterie board? What's the name of
Yeah,
that board?
yeah. This one, it's like Italian charcuterie.
Yeah.
So, like everything you could think of: butterfly shrimp with garlic, mozzarella wrapped in prosciutto,
Yes,
bruschetta,
they have
all,
a board.
yeah,
The olives, the
olives,
cheeses.
exactly. Yeah,
So
that'll be
they
fun.
have that. Yeah, so we're gonna do that. It's gonna be a group of us tonight. And then so even though I'm not a week person for my birthday, it's turning into that. So
Turning into it. See?
it'll be
I'm a
fun.
good influence. I'm a good influence.
You're a very good influence.
Did
And
you went to Tavolino's?
we did. We
How'd
went
you
there
like the
last
food there?
Sunday. Mary Beth was playing there. The food was amazing. And they had something there. First of all, when we drove up, I'm like, wait a minute, this is Denise's neighborhood. This is
You
the
just turn
hood.
around
This
and
is
go, that's her condo.
good. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so they had something there that I haven't seen in an Italian restaurant in years, which is the garlic. When they give you the bread, they put like butter, a little bit of like a bruschetta type of, like they had 3 little dishes, and then the roasted garlic that it's like the clove, and
It's
it
like
takes
the whole big bulb of
hours to
it.
roast that. Yeah.
Yes.
And then you spread it like a butter, but you don't get garlic breath from that because they cook it so much, I
Yes.
love that.
Yeah.
And I was just saying, you never see that in restaurants because I guess it takes a
You
long
want to
time
see something? You want to
prepare.
know something crazy? I hope I save this. I was home the other night and Gemma had to work in London at the actual office. And
Uh-huh.
so she said, do you mind if I go out to eat with one of my friends? I haven't seen them in a long time. And I said, no. She sent
Oh.
me a picture of a roasted garlic.
Oh, is that what that is? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it's so good
Yeah.
because
It's
you get all
good.
the benefits and the taste, but it doesn't linger. You don't taste
Right.
it hours later.
Right.
So the food was great. The food was
Yeah.
really good. And
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
quite
I
good.
bet this place looks like it's been here a while. I bet Denise knows this place. That's why I
Yeah.
texted you. This is where we are tonight.
Yeah. I used to get I think they were called pasta parcels, and they were
Mhm.
stuffed with pear and gorgonzola and walnut.
That
And
was not on the menu anymore, but they had
uh,
a butternut ravioli, butternut
that'd be,
squash
yeah, that'd be all
ravioli.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to the first time I ever went there was with friends of mine, and they had a wine and paint night
Oh,
where
yeah.
and we didn't go there with any intention of eating. We were just going to get, sloshed on wine and paint. And we ended up getting a couple of appetizers and desserts.
Mhm.
And I was like, if the appetizers and desserts are this amazing, I can't even imagine what the meals are like. So yeah, then I started going
Yeah,
there, and it is really, I was hoping that they would survive the pandemic, because
yeah, they
there's a
did.
few places that didn't, and I was really stunned. Like Metro Diner closed. That was
Oh, really?
like one of my faves that was in Coral Springs that closed. I mean, there was, my mother was rattling off a bunch of places, but for her, as long as Carrabba's is still there and Bonefish Grill, she don't care.
I was worried about Nino's. Nino's, thank God, survived too, because that's our Tavolino's.
Your
So,
neighborhood Italian,
but
yeah.
our neighborhood and Mary Beth, we hadn't been out in ever to see music, and it was just nice to see her play again. And I was back being her groupie, and because that's how we met. And so I'm writing music again. We started writing, so hopefully there'll be some new songs I can let you hear and debut. You heard our Christmas song.
I did. It's so good. Very cute.
So it's kind of a little story, almost like a Hallmark movie in
A
3
Hallmark
minutes.
movie in a story, in a song. Yeah. Yeah. If only they were that short.
Yes. Well, it is the season. And
yeah,
I think October 22nd is when it starts. The Hallmark movie.
no, they've been
Marathon
on here since September 15th.
Oh, they started already. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I
we
think
have
that-
actual channels dedicated to it, the Hallmark Christmas channel. Yep.
Officially, it starts on October 22nd, and
Oh, yeah.
the
Oh my God.
commercial, they have the cutest commercial. It's the kids are trick-or-treating and they knock on this one door and they open it and it's all
Yeah, we have
decorated
the
for
same
Christmas.
commercial.
I love that
Yeah.
commercial.
I said to Gemma, oh, they're getting sneaky now. They're wrapping it all up. So it's not like people are
Yes.
going, oh my God, it's already Christmas stuff. No, no. They want you to think it's got a little bit of Halloween to it too. Because we don't have
Right.
Thanksgiving. So we
Forget that I was
skip
gonna
through-
say,
yeah, we skip
yeah.
through that, and they don't
They're-
make a big deal out of Halloween over here. It's like
Do they have it? They have
they
it
do,
even?
yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
do, but
About that.
it's each neighborhood kind of does their own thing.
Mhm.
So we're never gonna get anyone here because we're in a gated community. So we're
Oh,
we're good.
right.
It's only
Get
us
your
and
own
one other
kids.
house. So we don't worry about it. But I think the thing I miss though is decorating for it, or at least
Yeah.
putting one or two things out,
I used to be really big into that.
My
I
mom
was just
still is.
thinking last year, the kids grow up so fast, and well, now we have little Pat, so he's kind of like
Yeah.
taking Jack's place, right? But Jack just turned 7 and Pat's just turned 3. But if about 2 years ago, it's crazy how when a kid is 7, how 2 or 3 years makes such a difference between baby and boy,
And kid,
and
yeah.
last year, I was just thinking we trick-or-treated with, 3 years ago, we trick-or-treated with Jack. Pat wasn't born yet. In my mom's neighborhood, because she's in a gated community, but all the kids like from the community will be
Yeah,
in
my
there.
mother's the
And
same way. Yeah.
he hooked up with this little girl, and he was so cute going from house to house. The little girl was a little older than he was, and he's like, "That's my girlfriend." He was so cute, dressed like a little pirate. And he was so happy. And then the kid meets her friend. She meets up with her friend who was like late in getting, catching up with them.
no.
And they just didn't care about Jack anymore. And Jack was like, wait up, guys, wait up, guys. And he was running. The whole memory came back to me because we're going to trick-or-treating again with Pat this year. So
Aw.
in my mom's neighborhood. So he's chasing after them, and he was littler, he was smaller than they were, so he couldn't keep up.
The
So
little
then at
legs,
one
yeah.
point, he just stood in the driveway and he dropped his little pumpkin and he goes, "I want my girlfriend back." And he's crying. This is me. And I was going through a breakup myself, and I'm chasing him going, "Jack, don't chase her. It's not worth it, Jack. It's not worth it." And when he dropped his little pumpkin and he's like, "I want my girlfriend back," I'm like, "Me too." And standing in the
That is
driveway,
hysterical.
candy on the floor, picking up the candy. Oh my gosh, that was like my most recent Halloween memory. That kind of was
Flashback,
yeah.
yeah.
Because now he has
That's a
a little
beauty.
girl that's shaking him down for money for ice cream at school. And I'm like, "Remember when you went trick-or-treating and that little girl ran away from you? Keep the ice cream for yourself. Don't give her your ice cream money."
Look at you doling out dating advice
I'm giving him the
to a
dating advice.
7-year-old.
The
Beautiful.
7. I think he's doing better than I am.
That is
But
so funny.
speaking of writing, I read a book. I finally finished your book, and
You-
I am not an avid reader. I'd rather usually watch the movie than read the book. But I loved your book, Good at It. It's just an awesome. It was like a full circle. I don't want to give it away for people who can get it on Amazon. I got it very quickly on Amazon. In like 2 days I had it. Kudos to you. It's just awesome.
Thank you.
I'm
It
waiting
is-
for you
it's
to
my
write something else now.
I know, right? I sent you my short story, so that's
Yes,
good
you know
too.
what? With everything happening yesterday, I didn't get a chance to read it because we had to put our cat
That's another
down.
good one. Like those are my two favorite things, that I've written, when I do like an overall thing, like, cause I think I write a lot, like I blog a lot, and like my first, like The Player and The Player 2 was literally one story that my publisher said, can we do this in a part 1 and a part 2?
Yeah.
Because, we have like a word limit or whatever. So I was like, whatever. And they asked me to make a lot of changes to it that I tried to be comfortable with. And I went with the flow. And I don't feel like it took anything away or changed anything. And it was, kind of like a play on how I ended up here. It was, and that's really all it was. So I didn't find that one like super challenging, because I knew how it ended, you know what I mean? So it was no big deal. But writing good at it was super fun because it allowed me to be completely removed from my life and write about a fictional character's life and how I wanted it to go. And that was just really different because they always say like, write what you know. And so that's why I wrote the first 2 books. Like, that's what I know, like my life. But to write good at it, there was nothing about that reflected anything in my life, except for the fact that it was based in Florida mostly.
Right. I was going to say, I love the references to all the 80s and 80s in Florida, in South Florida. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was the fun part to write and to actually research things that were going on in that time period. Like I wanted very specific references. Oh, my neighbor's cat's finally got brave and is walking across my back wall. So that was new to me. That was fun. Like I've never had to go back and say, well, what happened in 1982 that was newsworthy that I can, And then when I would go back and read about it, I'd be like, yes, oh my God, like how did I not remember Crystal Pepsi or, whatever it was.
Right. Oh, they kept changing the taste of Coke through the 80s and 90s. Right. Remember that?
Yeah. So I did. I had fun writing that. I had fun writing that, and it really challenged me to step out of my norm, and I was super happy with it. And the same thing with Mr. Beale is my short story.
Yeah.
And what, sometimes like you remember what you just said to me, like you got to write something else, and I was like, it just happens when the story comes.
Right.
And you never know what's going to make a story come. So for me, with Mr. Beale, I was in, I go through phases with my music. Like I was in like a sick Bob Seger phase this summer where it was all I listened to was like old
He's
Bob
got some
Seger,
good stuff. He's got some good stuff. Yeah.
So it was like Hollywood Nights and Main Street and Turn the Page. And then I was reading articles about him. Because that's like kind of what I end up doing. Like if I like somebody, like I want to do a little research.
Yeah.
If they have an autobiography, like I'll buy the autobiography, that kind of thing. So I've done that with like Mick Fleetwood. And then I was in my Bob Seger phase. And then I went through a Phil Collins phase. And the more I listened to his music and the songs and the words, that's what sparked me to write Mr. Beale. So I based that character of Mr. Beale kind of on my own fantastical idea of Phil Collins. Now, he's not, he's not a great guy. And I wanted him to be a great guy. Like the more I realized the real Phil Collins is not a great guy, it made me want to change my idea of what, what he is. So that was actually what sparked me. So yeah, that was another fun one to write because it was quick and it was short, and it could probably be made into like a longer, made into an actual book instead of a short story. But I like it the way it is. I like it short. I like it. I don't want to make any changes to it. So it is what it is. But I was so happy to hear that you enjoyed it. Like that's, you don't get to, like, most people that get your book will be like, oh, it was really good. And then that's all they say. We were able to like dissect it, that was fun.
Yeah. I was like, does she get the girl? Does she really actually rob the bank, rob the jewelry store? It's a really, and I love, what I like about your style of writing is it's so visual. Like you really paint the picture of when you were describing the grandmother and the mom smoking the cigarettes, and you were like, she puts her cigarette out and like next to the girl's whatever she was eating. And it's like, a lot of times people do that, you know, and that if you're not a smoker, that bothers you, you know, and the smoker doesn't think anything of it, you know, so it's
well, I thought, I was like trying to think about what it was like growing up, and that was really common, that there was an ashtray in between the plates on the table.
People smoked in the houses back then. Nobody thought anything of people smoking in the house. Ridiculous. And then the way you described the moms, I keep saying your mom, but I know it was Carrie, was the fictional, the mom's gated community, the way everything was so neatly, you know, manicured and
coral colored. It was a coral.
And the colors, which are still kind of the colors down here, I think.
They're never going to change.
But, not going to change. But yeah, I mean, it was just really so well written where you could visualize it, like you could see it being a show, like a movie, you know, you could see it being a movie.
God, if only.
So
I think what ruined the whole experience of being a published writer was how little say you have in the covers. So I wanted a very specific cover, and my publisher kept saying, can't do it unless you took the picture or you used the picture. I can't use someone else's image. So we have a bunch of stock ones, and we'll pick a stock photo, and the cover has nothing to do with the story whatsoever. So that's my worst thing, is that it ruined the player. It really ruined my experience of working with a publisher. Like, I don't, next time I do it, I'll just self-publish. I'll find an artist that'll do my cover the way I want it.
You know, it's funny you say that about the cover. I've been watching a lot of movies on Netflix and Hulu and the LGBTQ genre. Like, I've been looking for movies in that genre, but I've been watching all different genres, but there's not a lot of stories that are different. Like, it seems to be always kind of the same stories with the women anyway, with the movies with the women. And if you look at when they have the picture for the movie, you know, like they have like whatever would be the cover of the book, you know,
the cover of the DVD,
whatever the logo, the logo for each movie, it's the same thing. Two women kissing. Everyone. And I'm like, does anyone ever notice that these are like the same picture, different people, everyone? And then it's always kind of the same storyline of there's the one woman that is either straight or in the closet, and the one that's more bold and out, being the one to seduce the other one, and she's very reluctant at first, and then I mean, it's like, wow, is there a formula that no one strays from?
Right.
No one strays from that formula. So I kind of get, like, I bet you there are people, I get what you're saying, because I bet there are people that have submitted other stories, but for some reason they want to stay with that formula of the, you know, I don't know what you call it.
You really have to, you know, what I find is like streaming services, like when we had Kristen from Tello. Like, her platform is great because not only is it female driven, female centric, the actors, the writers, the crew, you know, the stories were all like, if you could have taken the main characters out and put straight ones in, you would see it anywhere. You would see it anywhere. Like Roomies with Julie was so damn good, you know. And like when we had Jill Bennett on, and she was talking about Second Shot, like those that was like a lesbian Cheers, you know. God, like, why don't they just pick these things up?
That's what I loved about your book, though, because you had the dynamic of the relationship between Carrie and Michelle, but that was part of a bigger story. And yet it was a really good part of it. It was a big part of it, but it was part of it. And I won't give it away, but I was like, does she get the girl in the end? You know, but I just think that, it made me think, man, you and I should write a movie together, because I have so many ideas and you've got the skills of writing a book. And, I'm like, people should be writing more than just that same formula of
factory generated
LGBTQ.
formula, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The LGBTQ movies
And
don't
the
have a
funny
lot of
thing is, like, I don't really seek that kind of stuff out to watch. Whereas, like, Gemma will, just so that we can say that we've watched it or whatever, but
see what's out there.
yeah, like I was telling my friend, the one that's taking all my stuff from my purge, was asking me, like, what's good? Like, what have you been watching? What's good? And I could not stop sending her, like, everything that I've watched in the last couple of months. Sex Education is so fun. Like that on Netflix.
I haven't seen that yet. I heard about it.
Oh my God, Gillian Anderson is so good in it. But the kids make it, because they're adult themes that kids are going through. And it's just really, really well done. And Ted Lasso, I'm so impressed with how good that is. I just thought, I like Jason Sudeikis to begin with. Like, We're the Millers with Jennifer Aniston has got to be like one of my favorite funny movies. Is up there with Spy, like Spy and We're the Millers. I own the DVDs because I watched them so much.
Wow. I haven't seen that.
Yeah. So I liked him to begin with. So I knew that it was going to be good, but we had kind of like dropped off the Apple TV thing after we watched The Morning Show with Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. It seemed like it was taking forever for it to come back, and that was the only thing we were watching. So I just said, you know what, like, let's just cancel it, and then when it does come back, we'll get it under my name for a free trial. We'll watch. So that's what we did. We got it when we got the new laptop, got Apple TV with it in my name, and then we binged the shit out of Ted Lasso, and it was so surprisingly well done. Like, there's just parts that are so silly and so funny and charming and sweet and serious, especially it's so topical. Like, after what we watched athletes recently go through with their mental health, like Simone Biles, like having to step back at the Olympics, and Emma Raducanu and Naomi Osaka and all these, amazing young athletes or whatever that were, having trouble with their mental health, but it's so stigmatized that they can't say anything about it. And that's one of the themes that's in Ted Lasso, and that you just didn't see coming and you didn't expect it, and the way they handle it was just so good, like so good.
Wow.
So I was so impressed with that. And then, like, I watch like a lot of older shows, like Grace and Frankie, we both watch that one. But I watch like the Kaminsky Method, The Ranch, Atypical, The Chair, Working Moms, Drag Race, Kim's Convenience. Like, I watch a lot of Netflix shows, so I'm always like, somebody goes, anybody know any good like Netflix shows? I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Like, I have a bunch. So yeah, that's we did that quite a bit. Like, Gemma was off for a little while. Her granddad had passed away, and with the time difference in Australia, we had to be up at like 4:30 in the morning to do the virtual funeral thing. So she took some time off of work to be able to adjust and do all that kind of stuff and get through it. And then we wanted to balance that with some funny stuff. So yeah, we were happy to find Ted Lasso, and all of our older. The Chair was so good, was so funny. And that was another thing, when she was isolating with COVID, I was sending her like shows. Like, I put a lot of shows on during the day when I'm here, because I can literally do cooking, cleaning, whatever, and still see the TV. So finished Dead to Me, got through both of those seasons.
Oh yeah, waiting for that to come back.
I know
supposed to be coming back.
I saw that at the end of season 2, so I was like, yes. But like, I'm so impressed that you read my book, and I can't really say that I've really read anything, but because I got the teaser that the new Adele album is coming
Oh,
out on October 15th,
know how much you love her.
I have read both the Vogue interview and the British Vogue interview. And those were like reading books because they sit down with somebody for like a weekend. You know what I mean?
Right,
To
right,
compile these
right.
interviews that are so in depth and intense. And so I read both of those yesterday, and I swear to God, I felt like I finished an Adele autobiography.
Aw.
Yeah. So I'm super happy. I've changed my screensaver.
Look at that. Wow, she looks great.
Amazing.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I did went through all the pictures in the Vogue and all that. I was like, should I take a walk up the high street to like the newsagent and get the magazine itself? I'll just look at it online. So nah, she ain't getting me out of this house. Now that I know that she's living in California, I can finally let go of the fact that I just might bump into her over here. Like I had
If Adele doesn't get you out of the house, that's pretty serious.
Right. But yeah, that's part of it, is knowing that she's in California.
Right, right.
So
No
I'm
chance
not-
of running into her.
no chance anymore. Like I used to get so excited when we were driving to Brighton. I'd be like, oh my God, I heard Adele has a house here. Maybe we'll bump into her at Tesco. So yeah, like not gonna happen. So whatever. But yeah, I'm most impressed, my friend, that you have actually finished the book. Like didn't just start it, you finished it.
I enjoyed it. I really did. And like I said, I'm not an avid reader. I don't really read too many books.
I'm
And I just
worried about you though, because is the finale of the L Word this week?
Is it the finale already?
I think so.
Oh no. It was kind of the only thing I had to live for on a Sunday night.
I just rattled off 9 million Netflix shows.
Oh wow, how can it be? Is it the wow? I can't believe it's coming up on the finale already. I didn't know that. Yeah, I've been they moved that to Monday for some reason. I watch Work in Progress. I don't know if you get
Abby
Work in
McEnany, I
Progress.
love it. I can't wait.
Love her. That is such an offbeat. She is so funny in such an offbeat way.
Yeah.
Pay attention, you know, to what she's saying. And I just was watching. It's a three-part docu-series on it's called Nuclear Family on HBO or HBO Max, and it's about two women who in the 80s, they're two lesbian couple decided to have children. And it's a true story. Their daughter, the girl who was like the child at the center of this, grew up to become a producer and a director, and she made this docu-series on her moms, how the struggle they went through when the father came back, the donor came back and wanted to be like a co-parent.
Yeah.
Not just to be in the girl's life, but to be.
It sounds like that movie.
Custody.
The kids are all right.
Something like that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I never watched that because again, I don't like when they don't have the ending I want.
Yeah. And this is the ending that whatever happened. And now the third and final part is coming out on Monday. And you find out at the end of the second one that the father has HIV, the donor has HIV. So then you find out why he was so like pressing for time, like he felt like he was out of time. And so at the very last scene of it, you see him, like someone was talking to him, interviewing him, and said, what's the hardest part of having HIV? And then you're like, oh, wow. Because that would have been in 1990. I don't know the timeline of it, but the girl was older when the whole fight started when she was 8. But that custody battle went on for years. So, you know, figure she was born in 1981, maybe that was like 1990, where AIDS and HIV was still like a death sentence to people.
Right.
So
yeah.
I don't think he, you know, was still alive at the end of probably the third one, which is the last one of that series. So that's coming out on Monday.
We should, yeah, maybe we'll get that. I don't know if we haven't been getting very many things from HBO Max. They rejuggled our channels again.
Uh,
I don't know if
did
we
you
will.
did you get Scenes from a Marriage? I think that might have been on Netflix.
I saw the first one with Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver, and I hated it.
Oh, well, this
So
is
I probably won't watch the next ones.
it's, you know what? It's so slow. It moves very slowly. But
Don't like that. Yeah.
yeah, it's like really slow, and it's very dimly lit as a movie. Like it's always kind of dark in the house.
I pressed play and I was like depressed 2 seconds in, and I'm like,
it's dark. Yes, it's also dark emotionally.
yeah.
But you know, it's kind of the struggle of what happens when someone, not only does she cheat on him, she leaves him for someone else.
Yeah.
And then at the end wants to come back, and it's he finally has healed. I guess that's the same basic story that you saw with Scarlett Johansson.
So, I don't even remember. It was so bad that I almost kind of blocked it out.
Yeah. That was also dark. I did see that one.
Yeah,
yes.
I was kind of pissed that I invested like 2 hours of time into it. Like, I don't like that. Like, I stuck it out, and then I was mad at myself for sticking it out, you know?
Well, this would be more than that because it's four parts. So it'd be 4 hours of time.
No, I know a lot of people are talking about the Sopranos movie.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, Scenes from New Jersey or Scenes from New York or whatever.
The Saints of New Jersey. I think it's
is that what it is?
Yeah. The Saints of Newark.
Saints of Newark. That's it.
Yes, that's what it is.
I'm waiting. I'm hoping that we get that. Like that's and I have to ask. I have one friend that over here that is such a wicked Sopranos. They've much watched the entire series of it like a million times. You know, like once was enough for me. You know, but I mean, like you watch, you know, because
I do that.
HBO, you would see the episodes 2 or 3 times a week. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah. And I'm sure you're hanging on And Just Like That from the
yeah, I can't wait for that to happen.
how sad that Sanford died.
I know. I don't even know if he got to be actually filmed. Did he actually get to film any of it? Because he was interviewed about it quite a bit before.
I honestly don't know. But yeah, I was heartbroken. That one hit me hard, man. Hit me hard.
Stanford Blatch.
Yeah, I just loved that character through all his insecurities and neuroses and all that. Like I just never.
And he was always a really good friend, such a good friend to carry, no matter what. He was there for her.
You know, and the more I read about him from all the different actors that were, you know, posting tributes and everything, what an amazing guy he was in real life. And
really
he adopted a kid, like single dad, you know, and it's just it really hit me in the feels. Like I hated it. Yeah.
And what a shame that Kim Cattrall didn't want to come back, because she was such a good part of that.
Makes you wonder, like, how bad was it that you know, those relationships, like how bad was it that she wouldn't sign on for this? So
I know. I mean, I think she felt that she was too old to play that part out. Like I had seen her in interviews where she said she was 10 years older than all those other girls.
Yeah.
So she said, you know, I played it beyond how I could play Samantha in that role. But still, like Sarah Jessica Parker is not, she's got her gray hair, I think, in this. Like she's not hiding the fact that all those years went by.
Yeah, I mean, all of them have aged, and I think that's part of why they wanted to do this, to show you what they're like in their 50s, you know?
Exactly.
But, I also think that out of all of them, that Kim Cattrall was the most professional and private. Like she didn't strike me as the kind that would want to go grab a drink after work or go have dinner after work. And I think she kept it that way. And I think we all just assumed that they were so close
Right,
and they
right,
really weren't. So,
right. You kind of want to, you don't want to hear that, right? You want to
right.
hear that they're buddies. And same thing with the Golden Girls. If you
Yeah.
hear interviews, B. Arthur was like that person, like you just described. She didn't hang out with them. She left. It was work. And the end of her workday, she went home. And then
So
I was devastated to find out she didn't even like cheesecake, because cheesecake was such a part of their bonding and
I
fixing their
know.
problems over a cheesecake.
I know.
Um,
It's
yeah,
so
it
funny
was,
when you hear those
sometimes
things.
you don't want to know that stuff. You just
I
don't want to
know.
know
It's like there's an odd fascination, with
it.
wanting to know
Right.
more about a celebrity. Like it's just, like after I got done reading those Vogue interviews with Adele, like my thought was like, my God, she's really matured. Um, and I don't want to say that I felt like she's become quite the diva, because I get that she wants to live a certain way. Like she doesn't want the overexposure that she had
Yeah.
with the last album. Like,
Hmm.
like the way she described it and the madness of it all, um, it makes you understand how difficult that life is. Like she said, just imagine
Oh,
yourself
yeah.
having to just sit in a house, like just sit in a house. And,
Because she can't go out. She can't go anywhere. Is that what she means?
yeah, instantly recognizable. And, even though like, I remember when I don't know if you know about the Grenfell Towers fire that happened over here.
No,
It was like a
no.
subsidized housing building. It was like a massive building of apartments, flats, and it
Yeah.
was outside was clad with something that was flammable, and a unit caught on fire, and the whole building went up, and a lot of people died. A lot of people
Oh,
died, and
no.
it was due to the fact that it was made out of cheap, flammable cladding on the outside. Like a lot could have been
Oh,
prevented. Sprinklers
gosh.
weren't working. A lot of that, and it was in the tower itself was in an area where Adele had like grown up around there,
Oh,
and so all these people, went for a vigil like after it. It took like a day and a half to put out the fire. Like it was
oh
that
my
expensive.
God.
Um, and
Oh,
she was there at the vigil, and you would have never known. Like you could have been standing right next to her. She had a Tupperware thing in her hand, like she was bringing food to somebody, and a candle, and she just had on like sweatpants and a sweatshirt and a poncho wrapped around her, not like
wow.
sunglasses and a hat or anything like that.
Right,
Just had
right,
no
right.
makeup on, so you just wouldn't have,
That just draws more attention, right?
right,
When you,
just wouldn't have even recognized her. So I think that she's very particular about how she is when she does go out. But
Mhm.
like at both of these interviews, one of them she was at a museum, and another one um they went as like some restaurant or something, um and it was always back doors through kitchens, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
a
yeah.
private room,
Right,
and
right.
you just think about like your only friends are your security people, your management team, you
That's
know
true. Yeah.
and yeah, she said like there were just times, especially after her divorce, there was just this time where she had said to one of her LA friends, take me to a party where I don't know anyone. Like I
Wow.
just want to go to a party
Wow.
with a bunch of strangers, and meet new people. Like imagine
Yeah,
that being
yeah.
a want or a need in your life,
And you
like people.
probably can't, when you get to her level, even go anywhere where you don't know anyone or no one knows you, or
Yeah,
no
but I
one knows
think
who
it's like
you are.
it's a craving, like you just want the
Hmm.
old days back and you want to feel like your old self. So yeah, that part of it made me understand why people would think that she's a diva, requesting back alleys and entrances and, you know,
Right.
stuff like that. And, even I just watched this afternoon, the very last hour of that documentary on Britney Spears, and how,
Yeah.
they would have teams of people go in and clear places before she would arrive, because they didn't want anybody there who would potentially have drugs on them or smoke pot or do something to
Hmm.
give her a false positive reading, because she had a drug test every week.
Oh,
All that
wow.
kind of stuff. So there
Yeah,
were
yeah.
just these layers of protection, around these people that you just don't understand until you're sitting there going, I don't know if that's, a great life. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
oh, how fabulous that you could buy the house across the street for your ex-husband so that you can co-parent. That's fantastic.
Right, right,
But
right, right.
you can't walk down the street with your kid, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
you can't,
yeah,
the few times that she was out, and like she went to, Disney World and whatnot, and you just get mobbed and photographed, and your pictures all over the place. But yeah, those kinds of that's the stuff that I always find interesting, is how people cope with their fame. And I think sometimes that's why I like to do a little reading about like somebody I like how are they handling their fame though,
right. I mean, sometimes it literally drives people insane,
I
and
mean,
then
why not?
other times there are people sometimes that can handle it and thrive on it, or balance it. I guess they can
Yeah.
balance it. Like I had a tiny little minuscule taste of it, and it wasn't really the fame part, but it was the routine of being on the road when I did the playing for the troops at the bases, where you have to be to the next place. We were driving from place to place, and I wasn't in a bus. I was in my Tahoe at the time. I remember being so exhausted when I played Fort Knox that I was doing everything just to have energy, and I was playing a lot of those times solo acoustic, so I didn't even have anyone to play off of.
Oh,
I was drinking like Cokes in between when I took a break. I was having an ice cream, like anything sugary, coffees, to try to stay, to try to have
present,
energy to do it, because
present.
we
Yeah.
leave one place, we drive in early in the morning. I remember we left Florida, and it was like 90 degrees, and we drive to Kentucky, and it's snowing when we get there. It was 18 hours away, and
Yeah.
we had driven through the night because we didn't realize how late it was, how far the drive was. This was pre GPS. So, we're like, well, I think it's about as far as Nashville, so we start driving, and I'm like, wow, this would be really nice. Cause we drove up to the hotel, and they had Christmas music playing outside, and it was
Oh,
starting to snow, and it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, this would be really nice if I wasn't so freaking exhausted.
right.
Kelly's
How
traveling.
little appreciation you have for anything, because all you can think about is, I'm going to
You,
drop right here.
yes.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
couldn't enjoy that. So that I kind of got a little feeling of what that was like. I remember reading Mariah Carey, something about her, where she said she had to be up for radio interviews early in the morning after doing concerts. And I think that's where you start getting on the drug thing, where you're taking something to stay awake, something to go to sleep,
Right.
because you have to stay, because there's so many people making money on you. Now,
Yeah.
when you're that famous, you have teams of people making a lot of money
Yeah.
on you, and they just want to keep
Yeah.
you
That's
going.
mostly like when I was watching the Britney thing, I was just like,
Yeah.
it is absolutely heartbreaking what that kid went through.
Yeah.
Absolutely heartbreaking. Not kid, woman that got treated
Yeah.
like a kid. But
She was always treated that way. Yeah.
yeah, I think the
I,
thing that I realized about Adele is that she has a lot of control over
yeah.
everything, a lot. And that's always been her goal, over her music, over her selection of producers, over who she's going to work with, over what interviews she's going to do, over where she's staying, where she's living,
Yeah. Yeah.
who's allowed in the circle, who's not. That all comes down to her. That's not a management company making those decisions. And I think that's,
Right.
respectable. Like I like that part of it. She amazed me. One of the things that she said was that the last album, everything has been for everybody else. Like,
Yeah.
how people resonated with Someone Like You and Hello and those songs.
Yeah.
She said like she felt like she gave those away. Those are other people. They felt them in their heart so much that she felt like those songs were theirs now. And this album that she's doing is hers, and she's not letting go of it, because it
Yeah.
was about her. You think a lot of it is about her divorce. And like she said, it wasn't because either one of us hurt each other. I wasn't unhappy, but I wasn't happy, and I want to be happy, and I want my kid to know me happy. So I felt like I had to do this, and nobody gets why I imploded, our lives. But I did. So this album is done so that when my kid's in his 20s or whatever, and he listens to this album and these words and everything, maybe he'll understand why I did it, why I went through it. Why I made him unhappy, because now he's 9 and he's just running around saying, but why can't you guys live together? So yeah. So it was that part of it was very interesting. And I felt like she was very open, and I like that about her, is that she doesn't really seem to have a filter, no matter how private she is about her life or whatever. When you sit down with her and she's got a couple cocktails in her.
That's great. That is amazing when someone of that magnitude, a star of that magnitude, could keep so much control herself of all of that. And another good documentary, if you want to see on an artist within the same kind of vein, is Nina Simone. And What Happened
yes, I saw that on my list.
Yes, it's called What Happened to Miss Simone.
Yep.
And she literally was driven insane by the business, but big part of it was her husband was her manager. And not only was he abusive physically and emotionally, he worked her, she said, I felt like a racehorse that couldn't rest. They just kept working and working and working. So the thing you love.
Same thing with Tina Turner, right? Like that was enlightening beyond belief. Like watching that documentary.
Yeah, you never really know.
You don't think about those things. Like I watched the one about the making of Motown, Hitsville, the making of Motown, and how Marvin Gaye fought Berry Gordy on the What's Going On album. Berry Gordy didn't want him to do something that felt political, and he didn't want him to do something that felt like he was going to be torching, the flames of racism and all that stuff. And he advised not to do it. And he said, I'm doing it. And then it went on to be like one of the greatest selling albums of all time.
Yeah. Like, the business people don't always
know.
Right.
I get you need help and guidance along the way when you're coming up, and but there comes a time where you come into your own. And I feel like if you don't have a manager that trusts that, or a team that trusts you to trust your gut, they're not doing you any favors.
Yeah. And the business is so fickle. You're caught between, you don't want to lose the place you're in, but you don't want to give up how you feel. It's it's
going forward.
In a perfect world, the person that is your manager or your representation trust you, like what you just said, like trust you as an artist to know what the right thing to do. But if you get to a point like Ray Charles in his movie, he wanted to do country. If you remember that scene where he wanted, and they're like, are you crazy? He's like, country music is stories and people love to hear stories. And because he had it in his contract, and it was only because he put that in his contract, because he was a smart businessman, that he could pick his material and choose what genre he wanted to play. Was he able to do that? And then when he did it, it was a huge hit when he said, when he sang, I Can't Stop Loving You.
Right.
So you have to trust people, as artists, and you don't always get that luxury. It depends on how big of a star you become.
You would think with, like, in this day and age, with the way documentaries are being pumped out at such a rate, and they're about anybody that's even had an ounce of, like Paul Walker, from Fast and Furious movies. I just watched that one, and people are watching these. They're so interested that you would think that management companies would learn just a little something. From these,
you would,
from the, the way that their hooks into people sometimes are just too deep. Look how George Michael fought Sony, how hard he fought Sony to have his rights.
It goes right
my wife
into,
checking in.
It goes right into the thing of them having so much control over you. They're afraid to lose the money they're making, so they just want to be cookie cutter and everything, like the pictures on the LGBTQ
Yes. Yes.
movie.
People are
The
afraid to
same
step
picture.
out
I
of the
guess
factory.
it
Yeah.
worked. So they keep going. The two women kissing work. So they keep just having that as the,
You know why though, too? Because it feels mainstream to them and they know that they're appealing to men as well. You know,
yes.
they don't
Just
get
gonna
that
say that.
lesbians see that all fucking day long.
I was just gonna
We
say
live it. Like we live that.
Yeah. Oh my
I
gosh.
remember
That is
interviewing
true.
back on the old podcast. I remember interviewing, I think it was oh God, why can't I remember her name? Maybe it was Tristan Tormino. I don't know. She was like a sex expert or whatever. There was a huge debate going on about women lesbians directing lesbian porn, because if a lesbian is going to buy porn, you know, they don't want to see two Christy Brinkleys slamming their clams together. You know what I mean? Like they want to see like a little bit of Rosie O'Donnell, a little bit of Elliot Page, you know what I mean? A little bit of Sarah Paulson. Like we're not bothered by age. We're not bothered by someone's figure or if their boobs are too big or too small. They're boobs.
That's an excellent point. You're right. That is so true.
I'm thinking like we probably spoke to this chick in 2007, and here we are all these years later and nothing's changed.
Hasn't changed.
But that's why we need to celebrate people, you know, like Kristen Baker and like Rosie and, you know, like Fortune Feimster. Like those are people that are perfectly okay with how they look and what they're doing, and they understand, you know, that we're okay with what they look like. We're okay with what they're doing. We're okay with what they're saying. We're okay with what they're wearing, you know?
Oh, and I think overall people are loving that the character of Carrie that they wrote into the L Word, because that's really what Rosie's a lot of women embracing look like.
Rosie,
she is.
You know, like I just saw a picture of her on Instagram in a really smart looking suit with a tie and a vest. And I thought, like, good for you. You know, there can't just be one Leah Delaria that represents all butch women.
Right.
You know, there can't just be one, you know, Elliot Page that represents what every trans man should look like. You know, that's the thing, is that our community is just woven with diversity, you know, and you don't just get to pick one person, you know, to be the Pied Piper of that, you know, of that letter, you know, out of the LGBTQ. You don't just get to pick one person to represent that letter. It's full. It's full.
That's
and I hope that
you're right. We need to write the next movie that's going to be embracing all of that.
But, you know, that's the thing that I've heard in my career. That's probably the thing that I have heard the most, is that people do write these movies and they do find funding and they get them made. And you know what? They're sitting on a shelf somewhere because they can't sell them. They can't sell them. Who's making those decisions? Old rich white men, you know? And they just want two chicks kissing.
That's it.
Two chicks kissing.
I think times are a changing though. I think that maybe they just might start getting made.
You know, that's the thing. Is like all you can do is hope. You know, we know there's an audience there, you know, and that's the sad part, is that we've got to come up with our own platforms and mediums and streaming, you know, platforms to see these things. Like One More Lesbian is a good lesbian content driven, you know, thing where you could see the kind of movies you want to see. And the same thing with Tello and, you know, Kristen Films and Baker Films and all that. Like they're out there and they're gaining traction, and OML has been around for a really long time. And that just goes to show you, you know, they're still around. They're still around because we've got to go seek out the stuff that we want to see. We can't just walk past the and be like, oh, Christmas at the Ranch is playing, you know, not gonna happen. So
And as much as I love the L Word and I look forward to it on a Sunday, now Monday night, they still sell out. I think like every one of those women except for the Rosie O'Donnell character, looks unattainably perfect all the time. Makeup, false eyelashes, and they wake up that way. That's the other thing. Like they wake up in full makeup. Like I thought on that show, they might have made it more realistic and changed that. But even Shane wakes up with makeup on. Shane, who's like supposed to be the most, probably not as glamorous as the other women.
More non-binary, right?
Yeah, and it's like she wakes up with perfect makeup and
and you know what? You know what it makes me wonder too. Like, is that an L Word producer driven decision, or is that a Showtime decision?
Right.
I mean, it's on a major, network. Showtime is a major network. So they're appealing to a bigger audience. Like if we're going to go seek out something from a streaming service and more relatable to us, it's because of where it's available,
Right. It's true. And it's hard on us as women because we don't wake up in full makeup, and people, like you want to feel real, and that's, even my beloved Hallmarks, people wake up but you expect that on the Hallmark movie, right?
Yeah.
But
it's true. Like the funny thing is like, I was thinking about this, like a dude, that's got like stubble or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it's very neat and very driven, perfect. Like that's fine, like to see that on TV. But when it starts getting long or it starts getting gray or whatever, you know what? It's still fucking fine, and that's not fair.
Exactly. Oh my God, this has been so much fun catching up. This has been awesome.
Honestly. Well, you know what? I am gonna go order some food. I don't know what, but I've again got free reign.
Well, happy anniversary.
Thank you so much. Happy birthday.
Thank
you. Enjoy your night out and your friends and your food. That's gonna be fantastic.
Thank you.
But you got a lot more choice, like over here.
Yeah.
Really. Just remember the chicken Milanese.
You're closer to the real Italy, so you're closer to the real Italian restaurant.
That's the advantage. I wish I could say that I made a lotus since my birthday, but I have not.
Yeah,
I haven't.
Maybe that'll be is that on the horizon for tonight?
No, I think I'm gonna stick with the cream soda with the Irish vanilla whiskey. Right now, I'm in the zone with that. That's the drink. That's the drink. But we do have Tyler coming back soon.
Yes, we do.
All right, my friend, enjoy your dinner, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you next week.
All right, happy
anniversary. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. He drank way too much whiskey.
Like, never stop chasing your dreams.